this is a syringe, but I'm going to pretend it's a piston by blocking the other end. I'm going to apply a force on the gas. It is going to move by delta x, the piston part anyway. And then the work that is being applied is negative. Where do all these minus signs come from in thermal physics, especially when we're talking about work compression of a gas? This is a very typical way that work is completed or done in physics and in engineering by compressing a gas. To provide some visual support, to the whiteboard. Hopefully you are familiar with classical mechanics in physics. Work is equal to force times displacement. This is a simplified image of our piston where I'm applying a force. There's the gas particles inside here, and the piston at the point of contact changes position. Now that phrase I said, point of contact, is very important here because you could be like, well, what is delta x? Is it the center of mass? Is it the average movement of the particles? So we'll call it the point of contact at the piston. Basically this line here. When we talk about a gas, it's way easier to talk about pressure, volume, and temperature. Hint, hint towards the ideal gas law. How do we get pressure in there? Well, pressure is equal to force over area. Think of me in high heels and standing on your toe versus an elephant standing on your toe. An elephant has a way, way higher mass than me, but chances are I'm going to hurt you a lot more, probably. Rearrange the equation to find F on its own. PA is equal to F. Now, however, to introduce the pressure into the system, we have to do something very careful. A very important assumption has to be made. It has to be what we like to call quasi-static. Well, think about it. To demonstrate with the syringe, when I apply a huge amount of force very, very quickly, all the particles around the piston are going to squeeze really tightly packed. They're going to be a lot more compact. The pressure is going to be high. While the gas particles all along here are not going to be compact. If I apply a very fast force, as in the delta x changes very quickly. If I do it very, very slowly. So slowly, in fact, that the pressure remains at equilibrium. This is what quasi-static comes from. It's a Latin and Greek word mixed together. Quasi meaning almost, but not exactly the same. From staticus, meaning to rest or to stand still. Now, there's other situations that you might need to consider, like, oh, the friction of the piston and God knows what else. We're taking on an idealized situation. Get used to it. This is going to be the bread and butter of thermal physics. We're always going to take the ideal scenario. So let's sub it in first. Work is equal to pressure times area times delta x. Well, area and delta x is just the height of a cylinder, and A is just the area of the piston at point of contact. Area times the height is just the volume of a cylinder, in this case specifically. So what we're doing is changing volume of the gas. And it's negative because the volume is decreasing. We're squeezing it and the volume is becoming more compact. It has to be negative. And so in a quasi-static condition, work is equal to minus P delta V. But the pressure's not going to be the same though. Do you take the initial one? Do you take the final one? Do you take an average one? Which one is it going to be? Well, the classical thing that we love to do in most of these problem solving is to slice it into tiny bits, into tiny, tiny increments of movement, and then sum them all up together. Maybe this is sounding familiar. This is just classical integration. So let's plot pressure versus the volume. We start at a very large volume initially and a very low pressure. And then I squeeze my syringe. The volume becomes smaller in this direction. And the pressure is increasing. And so the final expression looks like this. Well, that's just dandy. Like, honestly, realistically, this is going to be very problematic for you. How are you meant to get the integral every single time to truly know what the work is going to be? But we can use this equation for some very useful adaptations. And one of the kind of concepts that I like to talk about is the path that work can take. Now, that word path is going to be very important in thermal physics. Paths are reversible, some paths aren't. Another topic for another video. But one of the paths that it can take is isothermal work. Thermal meaning temperature, and so the temperature must remain constant. So when I apply work onto this piston, how do I make the temperature not change? Because think about it, if you remember your Boyle's law, Charles' law, Gay-Lussac's law, if I apply a huge amount of force on this, the pressure increases, the volume decreases, the temperature is going to rise as well. Hopefully you were aware of this. If not, I have a whole YouTube video on the ideal gas law. When I apply a force, the temperature is going to change very quickly. How do I make sure that the temperature doesn't? What could I do? What if I were to change the volume very slowly, and so that if any temperature changes do occur, that they dissipate very quickly? It is so slow that the temperature does not rise. Let's look at the maths of this. If we can rearrange the ideal gas law, this is the Stefan-Boltzmann version. If you're familiar with the lowercase n RT version, that's just the number of moles times the ideal gas constant. In this case, this is the number of molecules times Stefan-Boltzmann's constant. Same thing, do not panic. Well, not exactly the same thing, but close enough. So we can take that integral that we looked at earlier and sub in for pressure. This is what it looks like, nkBT over V. And standard for the number of molecules, Kb is the Boltzmann's constant, T is temperature, and V is volume. So basically, we're actually only integrating 1 over V. nkBT can move outside the integral because none of these get affected by the integral. So it's 1 over V dV. That means that our limit from state 2 to 1, it's meant to be a V and a V, is ln V. So ln V2 minus ln V1. If you remember your rules, we can put ln V1 over V2. There's a minus sign in front of that. Minus times a minus. We get a positive work being done. So work is positive under this condition as long as volume 1 is way larger than volume 2. So as long as we start our story from here to here, so the work done on the gas then is negative. If this is kind of tripping you up or you're thinking, wait, well, what? I highly recommend checking out my first video on the first law of thermodynamics. We talk about this a little bit more. Now, another path that can be taken isn't isothermal, but adiabatic compression. It's the idea that you change the volume so fast that the temperature does change, but it doesn't escape. Basically, you do this whole thing so quickly that the heat doesn't escape the system. And you might say, well, why aren't you showing that to me? Great question. It's a little bit harder, and we need to cover a few interesting concepts first. I don't like introducing ideas that I haven't taught you yet. We need to look at capacity, specifically Cp and Cv, and that ratio between them is referred to as the adiabatic exponent. I hope to cover that soon as Earth begins to have 36 hours in a day. Thank you so much for watching. Happy physicsing.